Gonna be preparing some handle material today for a couple knives. I got some micarta green canvas, which is going to go on that push dagger in the thumbnail, and some red G10 liners on it. And then I'm going to be cutting up some red heart and gluing some black G10 to that for another knife. Okay, now I've got to go drill these. So, let's take you out of the grinding room. Alrighty. Gonna super glue those scales up to the blade for drilling. Okay. Let me actually go get my other light, which I have over here. Oh man. Had this light forever. And it's kind of getting a little floppy sometimes. There we go. Here's the push knife that I'm putting scales on today. It's looking good. It's got a nice double grind, sharp on both sides. The idea here is for the bottom edge would be like your main edge that you use every day and resharpen a lot, and the top edge is just for like combat purposes, so you can cut from both sides. So So the way I do this, the way I get these lined up for drilling is I'll just put two little like BB sized, smaller than a BB sized daubs of super glue, and then we'll glue the scale on, drill the holes, and then knock it off with a hammer. Do the same for the other side. Just press that on there for a few seconds to let that super glue harden. This knife is going to be a really cool blade. It has the Marine logo on one side because it's going to be a gift for a new Marine. That's probably good. So there you can see there's the Marine logo on one side. I'm just starting to do laser engraving on my knives too. That's a new thing for me. Okay. Hope that stays on there. Now I've got to figure out how I want to mount this in the drill. Should have cleaned up from yesterday. I broke a drill bit yesterday in a piece of copper. I was using a cobalt bit because it was the only one I had in the right size, which I probably shouldn't have done. I don't think there's really no reason to use like a cobalt drill bit in copper because it's a very soft metal and it's a very grabby metal, and cobalt is brittle, so it just grabbed a hold of that drill bit and snapped it. Okay, I will grab two little scraps. These should work perfectly. Well, crap. You get a couple popsicle sticks to use. I don't like that. Oh, man. Can't figure out how I want to clamp this. That might be okay. I'll just do that. It'll be flat enough. Oh, this piece is too wide though, crap. Okay. I feel pretty good about that. That'll stop that from helicoptering. These are going to be 1/8 inch holes. Yes, that should hopefully stop that from helicoptering. Plus, it's just micarta that I'm drilling anyways. It's not a huge deal. That is... Okay, so basically, now that I have those holes drilled, I'm just gonna break this off. I like to use this hammer normally. So there we go. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. Guys, oh my gosh. You guys want to see a horrible mistake that I made? Do you spot it? Can you spot my fucking horrible mistake? It's not that bad, I guess, but God, I'm an idiot. Look at this. The pieces are the same, so they're not mirrored. So I put the red G10 on the wrong side of one of these, so I can't assemble it correctly. The red spacers are supposed to be facing in, but it doesn't work. They should be mirrored. That sucks. I'm gonna have to cut another piece of or I guess I don't have to micarta. I just need to cut another piece of red G10 and glue it to the other side of this. And then, but I'll have to wait another 24 hours before I can keep working on this for the epoxy to cure. That sucks. And that kind of ruins my plan for the live stream a little bit. I'll keep it going for a little while, but I don't have as much to work on now. That sucks. I'm an idiot. Yeah, those should be mirrored so that they can fit together correctly. Well, I can show you the other knife I'm working on. Little EDC with a copper bolster, mirror polish, and it'll have a tapered tang, as you can see. Yeah, I can start getting the handle material prepped for this guy, but then I'm just gonna glue it up and I'll have to wait for that to cure. For that handle. So, bit of Red Heart, black G10 liners. I think that'll be a really cool knife. Man, I can't believe I did that. That was a bad fuck up. And the fact that I didn't notice until now is kind of crazy. Do I have enough of this wood? I do. I certainly do. Oh, where's my pencil? Here's a pencil. That'll work. My bandsaw is absolutely on its last legs. It's not working too good anymore. Let me grab a new piece of sandpaper. Shiny Awong says hi. What's up, man? Appreciate you stopping by. I'm just trying to get these two Red Heart scales as flat as possible. Looks good. Looks good. Now I've got 2 flat pieces for my handle. You can tell they're nice and flat when they kind of create a little bit of suction when you try to pull them up off of the surface plate. Also, you see how that's lifting that up? Like that. It could be better, obviously, but that's how you know it's pretty flat. So, next, I need some G10. I'm gonna do black G10 liners. Perfect. And it's a pretty narrow handle, so I should probably thin down the scales a little bit just to save some G10. Because my scale is this wide, my handle is only that wide. So I could go ahead and take about a ½ an inch off of each one of these. Hello, Dimas. Thanks for saying hi. We're working on some cool stuff. All right. This bandsaw also desperately needs a new blade. That's why it's not functioning that great. So now that I have just enough wood to make my handle, I don't have to cut out as much G10, which would just be a waste. Okay. And this is part of the reason why my blade is dull, is because I cut a lot of G10 on this saw, which G10 is made of fiberglass, so that's not exactly an easy material to cut. Guess I gotta put my respirator on. Alright. I'm going to wear my respirator for a few minutes just because I cut that fiberglass G10. But I got some ventilation in here, so should only have to wear it for a few minutes. Allow that dust to circulate out of here. Okay. Don't like this. This part takes like not very long, but it always bugs me because it's hard to grip the G10. Time to improvise. There you go. Got a little handle. All right. Okay, guys, so got my handle material for that other knife now. I was just scuffing up one side of the G10 so it sticks better with the epoxy. I'm going to start gluing this up now. I don't think I'm going to film, or I don't think I'm going to be live for the epoxy. I don't know. Hold on. Let me think about this. Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll stay on live for a little bit longer. Okay. So let's remake this one. So I just need another piece of red G10. Whoops. All right. Going to scuff this up the same way. Gonna actually make sure I do it the right way this time. Okay. I'm going to start getting ready for epoxy. Okay. I believe I'm good to go. Okay, so we are going to epoxy these G10 liners to the wood. First things first, I gotta clean everything with acetone. Oh, I gotta sand this surface too. I forgot about that. One sec. Okay. Gotta make sure to clean that wood really good. My usual rule of thumb is clean it until it feels like it's probably clean enough, and then give it like 2 or 3 more wipes down. This is Red Heart, which is not a very oily wood, and that makes it easier. Like, as you can see, it's barely taking off any color at this point. But with some types of wood, like rosewood or Bocote or Cocobolo, the wood's so oily that you could do this all day and it will still remove color. Or, okay. Ready to mix up some epoxy now? I can probably take my mask off.
Okay. I will only need a very small amount of epoxy to do this. I use this Blade Pro stuff. From what I could gather when researching, it seems like it's just about as good as G-Flex, but it's a little bit cheaper. Should be good. That's probably a little too much, actually. Stir that up nice and good. Stir this for about a minute-ish. All right, we've almost been live an hour. That's not bad, even though I had that mistake show up, which kind of threw off my schedule. It's okay. So after I do this, I'm not really gonna have. Well, there's nothing after I glue these up. There's nothing I can do further on these two knives. I could start working on another knife if I wanted to, but these two will be stalled until all this epoxy cures. I just glued the bolsters on those copper bolsters on that knife yesterday. Epoxied and peened them on. So I guess I could go ahead and grind off the ends of the pins on that, but that'll take, that won't even take a minute to do. All right. Also, my rule of thumb when mixing epoxy is like mix it until you think it's good and mixed, and then go like 30 more seconds. Because a little bit of extra attention to detail now when you're assembling the knife is going to make it so much more durable. You don't want to slack off. You don't want to slack off and save 30 seconds now and risk having the knife fall apart. Don't make much sense. All right, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I'm doing this right this time, even though I don't think I can fuck it up, because there's only one side I can glue this on. Okay. I like this super thin red G10 because when you're gluing it onto a scale, it's slightly translucent, so you can see through it, and you can make sure that you push out all the air gaps, which is what I'm doing right now. So I like to put a layer of epoxy on both surfaces that I'm gluing together, especially for liners. Like, with liners, I try to spread a very thin layer across the entire surface and make sure I get full coverage. If I'm gluing a scale to the actual blade, I think in that case it's a little bit more reasonable to just put a lot of epoxy in and expect it to fill all the gaps when you squeeze it together. But for liners, I like to make sure that I got really good coverage. So I do both sides. Okay. So now that we got all that glued, I'm gonna clamp it down. So I have this plastic for that. Okay, so this is a sheet of, this is like a small piece of some plastic sheeting. It's six mil. And what's really great about this is when the epoxy cures, it doesn't stick to this. You can just peel it right off. So what I do, I'll put these all down flat on my workbench. And I'll just clamp it right down. With the scale on top of the liner, that part's really important because the scale is going to be the rigid portion. You know, it's gonna push down on the entire liner. Try to even it up as best as I can. That should be good. hard part about doing this is when you put pressure on it, the scale will float around on the little layer of epoxy, so you kind of have to babysit it and move it around and get it good. Okay. Last one down here on the end. Oh shoot. I don't have good enough clamps for this. Here we go. Get to use my favorite clamp in the world, which is the Can't Twist. The spring clamps work best for this, and this is all that I have. So I might just find some kind of weight to put on this last one. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll move this over here. Make sure it's on a pretty flat spot. So I will put that there. This is probably heavy enough. I just have this tiny little makeshift anvil. Or, okay. So, I'll take a bar of steel. This is so freaking janky, but whatever. I'll put down a bar of steel on it, and I'll put that on top, and that should be enough weight. It's gonna shift around though. I don't know how to stop that. Maybe I'll just go ahead and use the clamp, actually. I just don't like the way these clamps the lip on my workbench is not big enough for these. Okay. I'll just put like a reasonable amount of pressure down on there. That's good. Yeah, that's a better idea than trying to use this stuff. Okay. Just double check everything before I walk away. Yeah, see, I just don't like... I don't like the position of that clamp there. Maybe I can use this one. This weird clamp might be just perfect. Does it open enough? Barely. Wow. That clamp is barely big enough to work. There we go. Okay. I feel good about that. Now we've got like just a little bit more even pressure on this. Just barely tighten those down. Don't want to put too much pressure. Okay. Those should be good to go once the epoxy's cured. Gonna go ahead and end the live stream here. I wish I had more to do, but the epoxy is kind of halts progress sometimes doing epoxy because you got to wait for it to cure, obviously. So I will catch everyone on my next stream. I appreciate you stopping by, and everyone have a good one. See ya.